So
Okay.
today we are talking to Andra Enache, correct?
Yes.
Good.
Hi.
Okay, so before we start and you give us an idea of the kind of work you do, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and kind of how you kind of ended up in this kind of career.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. I'm Andra. I am originally from Romania. My first, I would say, bachelor was in communication and public relations. That's how I started my career as a young person. Then it kind of switched to human resources at some point. So I was working in HR for in international youth organization in which I was appointed at some point as the executive director for one country. And this is where I would say my coaching journey started without knowing the term of coaching. So I was all the time helping my team or the different like people we had in the organization to find answers to different questions by their own. So not telling them what they need to do or what they should do and so on, but rather help them discover their own answers. So this is when I think it was a combination of understanding what I'm good at, because people would tell me, "Oh, Andra, thank you so much for the meeting. Thank you so much. Like the questions you asked me were so powerful, or I never thought of this in this way," and so on. But also seeing the impact that I could have by doing that.
Right.
So at that point, I started to, I think, play with the idea, understand what is a coach, and of course, start working at the end in the field of coaching. Initially in that direction, like coaching individuals at work or in life coaching, right? Like what is their purpose, what is important for them in life, and so on. And then it slowly shifted towards relationship coaching.
Okay. And so did you stay in that organization while you were doing that? You didn't kind of start up on your own.
Yes, I think this is where I discovered my passion and my strengths of doing
Yeah.
coaching. So it was the part of being self-aware that this is something that I was good at and something that I was also enjoying in my day-to-day work. And then I started to take it out of the job, I would say.
Okay. And then you moved from. This was all in Romania, was it? Or
Sorry, no, this was in Costa Rica when I was working
oh, okay.
in this international organization.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then you moved to London after that, or yeah. Okay. And that's where you set up your own kind of coaching business.
Yeah, I started yes, in London since I
Yeah.
moved here.
Okay. And how was that? Fairly easy to set up the business, or quite stressful? Or?
Well, I think the hardest part is putting yourself out there.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I think the hardest part, of course, doing a coaching training is important because you may have the skills and the strength, but there are many things that I think make the difference. I have done coaching before doing the training and also after. And even though I feel it was good before, I believe that the coaching training helps you to be a better coach and
Right.
understand at the end some principles to guide yourself and know how to manage things better. But at the end, what's the most important is believing in yourself that indeed you can help people. Because otherwise, I met many people starting and even having coaching certifications, or starting and then they don't believe in themselves, or they don't promote themselves, or they don't discuss with people. They don't truly believe that they can help others in that sense.
Yeah, and it's difficult because I mean you might be very good at coaching or counselling, but you might not necessarily be very good at running a small business because they're two separate skills as well. That's the thing. So you're predominantly a kind of relationship coach. So can you give us a better idea of what that means and kind of exactly what it is that you do?
Yes, so as a relationship coach, my focus is helping people thrive in their relationships. Usually it's a romantic relationship, so this is where I mainly focus on. I also had some clients wanted to work in their relationship with their family or their relationship with friends, maybe at some point, but usually primarily are romantic relationships. Why people, I would say, come to get some support is either they're in a relationship and they are unhappy. This is the term they would say, I'm unhappy. And this is then understanding what unhappy means and what's beneath being unhappy. Uh, like they have conflict, so they don't know exactly what's not working on in the relationship and so on. Another one is dating. People who want to put themselves out there, I would say, and understand like how to build their own not profile, but to understand what's important for them in the dating world, what are their boundaries and what are their needs and so on. And another interesting thing that I've worked with people are breakups. So
Right.
helping people, I know it's really interesting because we see as a society breakups as something that okay, it's happened and then you don't talk, you just move on. However, I work with people that wanted to purposefully go through the breakup. So they
Right.
want to, okay, I had this relationship ended. How can I make the most out of this period of time to use it for my, I don't want to say healing because this is a very vague term in today's world, but to learn more about myself, right? On how the relationship ended, what I can take further into my next relationships and so on.
And has it been the kind of the whole world of apps and Tinder and all that kind of stuff? Has it made? Do you think that's made it harder for people to form relationships? And
Yes, I think in today's world is a bit harder for people to make relationships. One, because there is so much, there are so many options that you are less likely to commit to something when something better may be just around the corner. So
yeah,
this is one thing that unfortunately it's really predominant in today's world. And another one that I believe by interacting with people and hearing their stories, like when people try so many times, they go on so many dates, they put effort, it doesn't work. Then they get to a point where they don't want to put effort anymore.
right.
So somehow, and it makes sense, right? If you prepare yourself for this amount of dates or this amount of people, because this takes time and energy from someone's life, at some point you just don't want to invest without having a certain return of investment of your energy.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're dealing with people, are you mainly dealing with kind of one person, or are you coaching? Can you coach couples or?
So far, one person.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so I guess it would be a very different kind of dynamic if you had to do if you were doing a couple.
Yes, it would be. I'm actually training as a couple therapist, but this is a longer term plan.
Right.
And I wouldn't cross this line for now, for myself at least. I think it's a really different dynamic working with two people in the same space.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. So if you knowing what you know now and the kind of the journey you've been on to get to this point, if you weren't doing this kind of job, what do you think you would be? What do you think you would be doing instead?
I think I would be a doctor
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
because working like I work as a coach, but I also have a background in psychology, so I have like a visibility of research or mental health, different topics, things that have been studied and so on. And I feel there is a very big mismatch in the medical world in understanding humans as a whole.
Yeah.
So when you go into the world of like even medicine, you have a problem, I don't know, in your chest, you go to like a specialist that just looks at that specific problem. And for example, many times chest pain can be a sign of anxiety. It's a really
Yeah.
small example. So I think I would go in the field of medicine and seeing
Okay.
how I can bring different things together to give a more holistic support to people.
That means you've got to go back to college for about another 10 years.
Yeah, that's why I took it as an hypothetical situation. If I had another life. I don't know if I would start again.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's very useful. I hope people will find some interest in that, and we'll put links to your kind of website and all that kind of stuff in the
Perfect.
blurb underneath. All right, thank you very
Great.
much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you
Okay,
so much. Have a nice
cheers.
day.
Have a nice
Ciao,
weekend.
ciao.
See you later.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
You too.
Bye.